You can never time the market right because we get greedy. You're like 1,500% into profit, 10, 15x into profit. You're like, man, this thing could keep going. You're following social media, you're checking out what's going on in the market. You got all this good news incoming. You're like euphoric at the moment. And what ends up happening normally is you start losing.
You get a rug pull. So in some of my previous videos, I've talked about my experience with day trading and how it went well sometimes, didn't go well, generally didn't go well. But I didn't have as much exposure as some other people to day trading. And that is why I've brought Ibraheem today, who has had much more exposure in day trading, risky assets such as crypto, which I hardly ever did. So today we can learn from his experience and see how it worked out for him and what he thinks about continuing. So Ibraheem, how long have you been day trading for?
I think I started day trading from 2021, like right after Corona.
You were day trading mostly crypto or also like equities?
No, I think so. Basically what happened was at first I would just, at the time I just got a job and I had a little bit of extra income and I thought I could start investing, and I just heard all the talk about how crypto could be a high return really quick. And at first the crypto's price just fluctuates so much and it changes so much throughout the day that you can make day trades without using leverage even. But what happened is on the application itself, it was just so easy to access leverage and it just made it seem so profitable. And so what I ended up doing was I was just experimenting, and I just kind of tried with like 10x leverage the first time, and just within like 15 minutes I made like double my money. And I went, of course, in with like a small amount just to try. And it was really satisfying, and it was like real quick. It was on the spot. The profit was like 3-4, I would say like 10x what I would normally make. And so that was kind of my first experience with leverage.
And which cryptos were you generally? It was mostly crypto, right?
Yeah, I was only crypto.
So which cryptos was it?
I wasn't doing any leverage trading on the stock market. It was all cryptocurrencies.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even those random ones?
Basically what I would do is I would look for what's trending in the market at the moment. So for example, there was a time where I essentially lost a certain amount of money, and I was almost like revenge trading,
which is one of the biggest mistakes that should be avoided, right?
One of the biggest mistakes that should be avoided, yes. And so I was trying to revenge trade all the way back to what I originally had, and I just kept losing and losing and losing, and I got to a point where I just had, let's say for example, like $1,000 left, and I was just like, this is it, I need to make
either 10x it or 10x go home.
Or I'm gonna go home and start all over again, And so what ended up happening was I realized that throughout maybe the 2 or 3 weeks ahead of when this happened, or when I made this trade, is that all these like what was it called? Multiverse. It's not multiverse. What was it? Metaverse.
Yeah. The NFTs and that stuff.
So it was all these, at the time it was like metaverse was like popping, and like gaming and crypto was popping, and so all these like cryptocurrencies came out, like Sand and Gala and I don't know, there was a couple more, honestly I don't remember them right now, but mainly honestly for me it was Gala. And I saw that it was going up. I saw that it kind of crossed resistance, and I thought maybe this is a good opportunity. So I went and I put 25x on leverage, and at that point that was the highest amount of leverage I've ever put. And within, I don't know, 24 hours, I went from like $1,000 to around $15,000.
Wow.
It just blew my
mind. 1 hour?
And within 24 hours.
Wow.
And it just blew my mind. And then the thing is I had all these other cryptos, and I realized that in the crypto market, if Bitcoin is going up generally, most of the other coins are going up as well. So what I did was I had a bunch of cryptos that were just like small amounts, like $50 of Ethereum, it was like $70 of like Bitcoin, and I just kind of put them in because I just saw that the whole market was just going up. And so that feeling was insane, like just waking up, actually I didn't sleep, but just just seeing your money just keep going up like 10x, it's like 1x, 2x.
And then
3x.
Did you sell at that point? Did you take out the 15k?
So what I did is I've had previous experience with kind of trading in general, so I know that at a certain point you really need to take profits.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I decided to take out my profits, but the thing is with leverage is it gets you, you know?
Yeah.
Once you get to a certain
The greed
point-
gets you.
Yeah, the greed gets
Yeah.
you. So once you go from making $1,000 to $15,000 within 24 hours, I mean, you're getting thoughts like, I'm gonna quit my job, man. I'm
Yeah.
gonna become like a millionaire in like a week. You know?
And everyone else was wrong.
And everyone else is wrong. Yeah, and I got vision, like, you know what else, you know, and all these like crazy things. And,
Yeah.
and then when did I really understand that leverage was actually very difficult and extremely risky and extremely high loss? Is that same $15,000? I literally lost it within, I don't know, 6 to 7 days.
Oh. And how did you lose in 6 to 7 days? Like, how did you lose
So
that?
basically, what would happen is I would go in, and then I was like, okay, I kind of understand how to leverage. I saw that maybe the market is going to do a correction, and so I was thinking, let me start, you know, preparing to short everything. Because I was like, if I made $15K going up, imagine what I can make with 15K. Right? And so
So shorting.
Yeah, shorting. So now
Okay.
I was going to go the other way around. I really believe that if you're a good stock market investor and you're thinking long term, that
Long term?
Yeah,
Crypto long term?
I'm thinking crypto long
So
term.
those things like Sand or Gala or whatever, you would
I'm
buy
not
it
sure-
and hold it for
I'm
like
not sure
5,
about
10
Sand
years?
or Gala, but I think there are some cryptocurrencies that have proper uses, like XRP, and once they sort out their lawsuit, I think Bitcoin is a really good store of value. It's kind of like gold, you know. There's a lot of countries adopting it. It has a lot of potential, and at the same time, I'm thinking, I mean, if I could just get lucky in the next 10 years and get in on something before it goes insane, just like if you kind of invested 20 years ago in like Microsoft or Apple.
Yeah.
If you invested like $1,000, I don't know what it is now, but it'd definitely be worth a lot more. And so I feel like if I could just kind of achieve that, so I'm willing to risk a certain amount in something high risk, high reward, if that makes sense.
So are you currently day trading or investing in crypto, or what's your situation now?
Okay, so at the moment, what I've decided to do is I've actually lost a lot. I've lost almost all my investments I've ever made in crypto through leverage.
What about the capital?
I've lost everything.
Okay.
Like literally, just imagine going from like whatever it is amount to zero, because leverage just gets you, and it just plays on your emotions. And the thing is with leverage in crypto,
And you kind of have like the odds are against you in leverage.
Yes, 100%.
Because you get margin calls. You
Absolutely,
have to have
absolutely.
cover. You know,
absolutely.
so
And a lot of times, what could happen is, for example, I'll put a stop loss, and what'll happen is it'll just touch my stop loss.
yeah, and then it'll fly.
And it'll
Always
fly, right?
happens,
And
yeah.
so what ends up happening is, for example, I'm gonna go long, and then it goes short right at my stop loss,
Yeah.
and then
And it's
gone.
annoying because you knew you were right.
Yeah, exactly.
You
just
had the
wake
right
up next
idea
day
and
you're
it
like,
just didn't
man,
work.
I probably could have made like 2x, 3x on that trade, and so
And that makes you want to revenge trade even more, and it
100%.
gets you in like a vicious
and
cycle.
then a vicious cycle. Yes.
Yeah, vicious circle or cycle.
No cycle. And then the thing is, it's like after you leverage, you trade using leverage, you just can't go back to normal trading.
Yeah,
Like,
because it's like my $1,000 is gonna give me like $20, $200, like instead of 15,000, right?
yeah, exactly. Like it's like I could like, for example, I had this thing set up on one of the applications on cryptocurrency, and it was just I would just put in monthly like a certain amount, and I basically
like a pie.
I basically created my own index
Like a
fund.
pie,
Yeah, like
yeah,
a pie. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
that's leveraged?
no, without leverage. It was
Okay.
just regular trading.
Because leverage long term obviously is not a good idea. Like they're taking interest from you every night.
Of course, 100%. And so basically, what would happen is I would just put in like a certain amount each month, and then it would just kind of go into certain cryptocurrencies. And then what I realized is when I looked at the stats of just having this kind of dollar cost averaging going on, long term thinking, is I would have made about 150% return on all my investments.
Wow.
Which would have been really good if I just invested this way from the very beginning, right? But what leverage does is it makes you believe that you can make a serious amount of money in a very short period of time. And what happens is you tend to get greedy, because imagine this: imagine you go in with $100, and then within 2 to 3 days you're at $5,000. Honestly, at that moment, you look at the market and you're like, man, I think I could probably.
Yeah, you feel like you broke the matrix, like you hacked the system.
Exactly, because you're making like an insane return. You're making like,
50,000x.
Yeah, some crazy
Yeah.
amount. And so what ends up happening is you kind of get greedy. You might take out a little bit, and then if you lose whatever it is you have left, you feel like you can, because when you lose, normally it's like I'm going long, it starts going short, I start losing money. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should change my my trade just to make my money real quick, like make my money back and then leave. But then you don't make your money back, and then you lose the entire amount, and then you want to kind of make that back, so you start revenge trading, and then all of a sudden you've lost all your money.
And you never tried equities or normal companies,
honestly,
stocks,
no,
nothing like that?
Because I just felt in my head that it's too slow, and I just really like how fast it kind of works in crypto. How I can, like, if I can spot a correct,
like a good pattern, trend or something.
Or I could see something like a trend. And the thing is with crypto is sometimes things trend. So for example, it could be like AI for a second. It could be like, you know, the old school cryptocurrencies. It could be like metaverse or gaming cryptocurrencies or NFTs or whatever it is that's trending at that moment. Normally you could make a quick trade, and I feel like if you do really have excellent fundamentals in trading, you could probably use leverage in crypto and make a good amount of money, right? If you could sell, if you could not be greedy, if you could,
which is
profit,
all easier said than done.
Yes, absolutely.
Because in the moment,
and seeing something that you're invested in at 756% green.
And you're not selling. Like, when are you gonna sell?
Exactly.
Like 100-200%, you're not gonna sell.
Because it keeps like, because once you have that experience where you're literally up 15,000%, or I wouldn't say 15,000, I'd say like 1,500%. When you're up that much and you can see 1,500% in profit, it almost hurts to sell. Because you feel like you could keep going.
Like if in one day it went up this much, what will happen
what
in
will
a week?
happen within a week, you know? And then a lot of times it's like,
and then you have the people around you hyping you,
100%.
like, yes, we're all in this
100%.
together, this is gonna go up.
100%. And what you end up doing is you kind of you end up researching things that help support your bias.
And it just feeds your like echo chamber in your head.
And it just keeps you going, you know. And so honestly, ultimately, what I've at this point, I don't day trade anymore. What I've kind of realized, it's almost like gambling. Really,
definitely.
because sometimes you have the right call. Like, I know it's gonna go up, but because I'm so high in leverage, or because I'm on leverage, it could liquidate me before it goes up.
Like if it goes down like 1%, you're done.
Exactly.
And like, depending on how much leverage
I have. And so sometimes you have the right call, and it was just $1 that liquidated you. You know what I'm saying?
And then that $1 that liquidated you pushed you in a whole process
cycle,
of
and then kind of you want to revenge trade, you want to get back into it, you want to try to make some money. And so what I tend to do now is I just like to focus on smart investments with things that have a solid
but only in crypto until now?
No, I've mostly diversified. I'm actually going for a lot more safe investments, because I realized that like maybe I do want to make money fast, but at the same time it's like I've understood what could happen when you want to make money fast, and it's just better off, because I realized, like, if I just invested, let's say 100,000, you know, and I made 150% on my 100,000, that's a very good return on an investment within 2-3 years, you know. And so I believe that is a much safer way to trade. And then same thing with the stock market, is I like to go for index funds. And what I do is I do go in for risky trades, but I've tried to limit my risk a lot more.
Have you ever done options trading?
No, I've never done options trading.
And now what do you invest in mostly?
So what I've started to do is I've actually started to focus on investing more in the stock market, due to the fact that it's less volatile.
In index funds or
so
individual?
Even in the stock market, I'm diversified. I have certain index funds, and then I like to invest in certain stocks, at least ones that pay good dividends. And then what I also do is I'll always have like 10 to 20% of my portfolio in high risk investments, and then I've also decreased how much I invest in crypto. But I just feel like if I can invest a certain amount that I'm okay with losing within the next 10 to 15 years, if it goes up, 1,000x, 2,000x, just like any market has kind of gone up over a decade or 2 decades, then that's fantastic, and I'll get in on it. If that's not the case, then the amount that I've invested isn't something that I'm truly worried about losing. While in the stock market, I feel like I'm much more confident in the investments that I've made long term.
And when you say that you leave 10-20% in high risk, is that crypto or
that's
in
kind
anything
of everything.
high risk?
So like, for example,
penny stocks, stuff like that,
whatever it is. Like if I feel like, you know, I could get an insane return on investment in a short period of time, I'll take my chances. But recently I've tried to decrease the amount of risky trades that I take, because I think really dollar cost averaging, thinking long term, and if you kind of just look at the data over I don't know, like 50, 100 years, 20 years, 10 years, 15 years. Generally
Yeah.
speaking, like even after the market crashes, it normally recovers and it recovers higher.
Yeah, and you don't even have to be like smart or try hard to make a good return.
Honestly,
generally,
I don't think so, but I do
Yeah.
think that you do have to have some knowledge about what you're
Yeah.
doing.
But
You
as in,
do
if
have-
you're just buying stable stuff and holding it for long term, yet generally you can't really go wrong.
I
right?
believe so, yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
And was there any influencers or like celebrities or communities or pump and dump schemes that pushed you in
no,
some things?
I don't think that's happened exactly, but what I realized early on is once you try to trade like someone else or you try to copy someone else, it doesn't necessarily work out all the time. What I tend to do is, honestly, I like to do my own research. So for example, let's take something like Bitcoin. You know, I know it's the most popular, but either way, you take Bitcoin, you do your research, you understand what its use cases are, you understand what it could do, you understand, you know, you kind of have a look at predictions, you take a look at the graphs itself, you look at the market, you look at how long it's been, what are the highs, what are, you know, all these different things, and then based on that, I try to make my decisions when it comes to trading.
So do you actually believe in crypto as a currency, like instead of like other than an investment? Do you actually see it as something people should use and transact and buy things and
Look,
stuff
I'm
with?
not gonna lie. I think crypto.
Have you ever bought anything with crypto?
I've never bought anything with crypto,
Okay.
but I just see it as a way to, at the very least, hold my money at a good value. Like for example,
Because you compared Bitcoin to gold earlier.
yes, 100%.
So you really compare
I
Bitcoin
really
to
think
gold?
that Bitcoin is like gold. Like for example, right now, if you're thinking long term right now, and I'm thinking long term, let's say 10 years. So if you bought in 2020 at peak, at like, I don't know, it was like 60 something K, I completely forgot, to be honest. I mean, it passed that recently. They went to like 73, 74. You could have sold then and you wouldn't have lost any money, and you would have actually made a little bit of profit.
But the thing is, I talked about this in a previous video, that when it reaches 74, what would make you sell if you're thinking it's gonna reach 100 or 200 or a million? Because that's what people who are holding it at those levels are thinking.
Honestly, I really think that cryptocurrency has kind of repeated its cycles many times over the last, let's say, 15 years. And so to a certain point, it's almost predictable what's going to happen, at least with certain cryptocurrencies. But I really think that, at least for now, Bitcoin is, look, it's a high risk investment in the end of the day. If we're going to be honest, it's a high risk investment, but it's a high risk investment that I'm willing to take.
So right now, what's happened if you took like the amount of money you started with and now, like,
Oh yeah, if we're talking like cryptocurrency, pretty much every single penny that I've invested into crypto, I've lost.
okay.
And I would honestly say is I've made a lot of good calls, but I really am an emotional trader, and so that's why I've realized that for me, in my case, it's always better to just dollar cost average, think long term, and I've seen just mostly green returns on all those investments. However, the things that I've tried to make money fast and quick is where I lose, because I'm trading emotionally. Some FOMO while I'm trading, or I might get too greedy, or you know, there's just so many different cases where truly trading on leverage is, I feel, so dangerous, to the point where honest to God, I've lost everything I've put into crypto. You know.
And what would you say to someone who wants to start investing in crypto or trading crypto, whether they're young or old? Or
Honestly, I would say that, you know, if you would like, put in 5% of your portfolio into crypto. You could get a little risky.
By the way, guys, nothing in this video is financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only.
Entertainment or education?
Entertainment. We'll go with entertainment. We're not educating them right now.
100%. But I really think, in the end of the day, like, I see an opportunity. I think it's worth taking the risk, whatever it is, 5%, 10%. If it's amount that I'm willing to lose, I think it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think if it goes up another 10x, for example, I don't mind having a certain amount within the next year, 10 years, make me 10x on my investment, sell it then, and then I could take that and invest in less risky things. So what I tend to do now is, if I make a good return on crypto, is I take it out and I put it into an index fund. So that way I've made that, like,
you've realized the gains, taken them out.
100%.
Now they can't go from.
And now
there,
I've put them into something that is much more stable. That's giving me, for example, there's certain stocks that I'm invested in here in Saudi, at least in the Saudi stock market, where they pay you dividends. So it's an index fund that pays you dividends. So it's more of I'm trying to just
You're trying to make like an income stream from it,
100%,
sort of.
100%. That I'm trying to decrease the risk from crypto.
As an emotional trader, if you put your, for example, 5% or 10% in something risky and it blew up, do you think that would drive you to like go back to that mindset and start throwing money in it? Or you have your self-control and you've learned your lesson?
I think the amount of losses I've lost have brought me to a point where it's just sometimes it's like, man, if I only put in like let's say you put in $100 and you 10x'd it, you only made a K.
Yeah.
So in your head you get that thought like, man, if I put in 10K I would have made 100 grand.
Yeah.
Right? But it really shouldn't be thought of that way. You know what I'm saying? So what I tend to do is, okay, you know, I made from $100 $1,000. I'm gonna take $700. I'm gonna.
I know $1,000 from $100 is great.
Very good.
It's,
it's a great
still
return.
10x is 10x.
I made money.
Yeah.
I take that money. I put it in safe investments. I still have $200-300 that I can still put in risk because I've already recouped my initial investment and put it in a safer index fund, for example. So that's what I tend to do.
Do you know anyone who has made like crazy money from crypto?
Honestly, no. Personally, no.
Do you, and out of the people you know who invest in crypto, whatever, like, did most of them just lose it all, or how did it go for most people that
no,
you know?
what I've realized is a lot of people, whoever ends up doing leverage just doesn't.
Yeah, leverage.
Long term doesn't succeed.
And day trading in general, right?
I find day trading very difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have to time the market.
Did you ever follow someone's trades or join any of those groups or Discords?
I mean,
or
I've joined Discords, but I don't end up using the calls that people give. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so that's all for this video, and let us know your thoughts. And you can check the link down below for socials and different investment-related stuff, and make sure you like and subscribe and share with your friends. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Or I'll see you in the next video. He might not be there.